what is input validation attack. An input validation attack is any malicious against a computer system that involves manually entering strange information into a novel user input field. Input validation attack take place when an attacker purposefully enter information into a system or application with the intention to break the system functionality. Sometimes a web application can cause a malicious attack or input validation attack all while running in the background. However, in the most cases, it is an individual putting the data into the system and corrupting its performance. When information is input by an application or user as a part of user input attack, it can make a computer vulnerable to unauthorized changes and destructive command. The type of unsafe data entered into a system can range from simple words to malicious code to massive scale information attacks. The best form of defense against this attack is to test for input validation prior to deploying an application. There are types of input validation attack. Firstly is buffer overflow. This is a type of attack that sends too much information for a system to process, causing a computer or network to stop responding. A buffer overflow might also cause excess information to take up memory that was not intended for it, sometimes even overwriting a memory.
Next is canonicalization attacks. A canonicalization attack takes place when someone changes a file directory path that has digital permissions to access parts of a computer in order to allow access to malicious parties that use this unauthorized entry to steal sensitive information or make unapproved changes. SQL injection attack. SQL injection attack involves taking a public URL and adding SQL code to the end to try to gain access. An attacker might enter code into a field commanding a computer to do something like copy all of the contents of a database to the hacker or detect malicious information, reveal hidden entries in a database, or delete information without consent. So, this is the example of input validation attack.
Next is countermeasure or defensive method. First, assume all input is malicious. Input validation starts with a fundamental supposition that all input is malicious until proven otherwise. Whether inputs come from a service, a file share, a user, or a database, validate your input if the source is outside your trust boundary. For example, if you call an external web service that returns string, how do you know that a malicious command not present? Also, if several applications write to a shared database when you read data, second is centralize your approach. First, Make your input validation strategy a core element of your application design. Consider a standardized approach to validation. For example, by using common validation and filtering code in shared libraries. This ensures that validation rules are applied consistently. It also reduces development effort and help with future maintenance. In many cases, individual fields require specific validation. For example, we specifically develop regular expression. However, you can frequently factor out common routine to validate regularly used fields, such as email address, titles, name, postal address, including zip or postal code, and so on. Next is do not rely on client-side validation. Server-side code should perform its own validation. What if an attacker bypass your client or shut off your client-side script routine, for example by disabling JavaScript? So use client-side validation to help reduce the number of round trips to the server, but do not rely on it for security. This is an example of defense in depth.